When I wrote Breaking Their Will, I felt it was important to not just expose crimes against children and faith cultures, but to spell out just what makes a religious culture unhealthy for children. As I mentioned before, most children grow up in faith communities and thrive on that, thrive on those teachings. So what actually is the difference here? Why is it that some children, do terribly in these cultures? After studying many cases and reading numerous studies, I came away with the conclusion that the risk for religious child maltreatment is highest in religious cultures that are authoritarian. I can talk later about just how this takes place. It has to do with how authoritarianism affects parents. But to put it in a nutshell, the more authoritarian a religious culture is, the more likely children in that culture will be abused and neglected in the name of faith. And I use the term culture broadly. It can be a sect, a neighborhood, a place of worship, or even a single household. Any environment that is defined by its members' faith, where religion is kind of the glue that keeps everyone together. There are three key ways to identify a religious authoritarian culture. One, the culture has a strict social hierarchy, so religious leaders have much more power than everyone else. Men are almost always much more powerful than women, and children basically have no rights whatsoever. The culture is unusually fearful. Fears can be theologically based, such as the belief that bad things will happen to the disobedient in the afterlife, or culturally based, where members can be shunned and ostracized or excommunicated if they don't fall in line with the culture's rules and customs. Parents who live in faith-healing, zealous cultures often are afraid to take their children to the doctor because they can be excommunicated for this, and that's particularly difficult in an authoritarian culture, because if you are excommunicated, you've lost your entire social network. The culture is socially separatist. It's highly problematic when groups are isolated from general society. Members don't have a lot of access to information about public services, so they might not know what abuse is or how to report it. However, I want to emphasize that I'm talking about social separatism. A group doesn't have to be located on a remote compound somewhere to be separatist. There are many socially isolated communities in urban and suburban environments in which members have limited access to mainstream media and are discouraged from forming close ties with non-believers. These risk factors hold true whether a child is living in a tiny fringe sect or so-called mainstream faith. And it doesn't matter whether the belief system is unconventional or whether it's based on Christian, Jewish, or Muslim doctrines. I was recently made aware of an Alabama case in which a woman allowed her 17-year-old son, Jesse Burdett, to die of bacterial pneumonia, which is treatable. Jesse's father told the media that before Jesse was born, he and his wife joined the Sandhill Bible Church, which believes that members should rely solely on prayer for healing, not medicine. The father said that the church seemed fine at first, but he left after a year because the pastor was too controlling and the members were too self-righteous. These are telltale signs of a religious authoritarian culture.